The emphasis of American elections is increasingly on telephone work and rallies. The capacity of candidates to actually meet and greet members of the public is all very limited, so the campaign exists almost entirely through the media. This is something that is the case in the United Kingdom, but something that we need to be aware is more so here. With a population of 300 million and party organisations that are actually still comparatively small, their capacity to actually run a ground campaign is limited. Today we went to one of the Obama offices in Richmond, and although it's the hub of a state, the campaign was still moderately small and something that on our scale we would be quite surprised by. The amount of media activity going on in this state is impressive. Between every television programme there are adverts for whether it's Kaine for the Senate for the Democrats, Allen for the Republicans for the Senate, or Obama or Romney. It's quite clear that this election is fought through the media.
as a 29-year-old kid to the Senate. I was characterized as this young idealist. If you read about me now in the major press, I'm always referred as the White House optimist. We have something in common. Optimist. Well, I'm an optimist. I am more optimistic today, and I mean this sincerely. My words are Biden. I am more optimistic today about the future of this country than I was when I got elected as a 29-year-old kid. We are better positioned than any nation in the world to be the leading economy in the 21st century. We are the most powerful military and political force for good the world has ever known. And now it's time for our politics to be as good and as noble as our people. It's time. It's time we come together and realize the great potential of this great country. It's time to replace unyielding ideology with principled compromise. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe most Democrats and Republicans are prepared to do just that. We have absolute confidence in the American people, and we are determined, Barack and I, to level the playing field for the middle class. Give them a fighting chance. There is no quit in America. And I got news for these guys. It's never, ever, ever been a good bet, Governor Romney and Congressman Ryan. It's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. We need you to win. We win Virginia. We win this election.
The issues that politicians decide to campaign on often reflect the issues that most people are concerned about at the moment. In some presidential elections, it's been foreign policy. Unsurprisingly, after 9/11, the election in 2004 was much more about foreign affairs than it normally is. But it seems very clear when talking to voters here and also looking at opinion polls that this election is more about President Obama's handling of the economy rather than anything else. With more people unemployed now and the highest budget deficit for many years, it seems clear that the handling of the economy was the decision-making factor for this election. It seems also clear that when you look at some of the adverts we're showing you during this film, that the focus of the campaigns is increasingly obvious and the economy is vital to both candidates.
We interrupt this broadcast for these messages.
The auto industry was crashing down. I was scared to death. I had a newborn baby, wife, house, and I got laid off. I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
Under the President's Auto Rescue Plan, the industry restructured, saving over 1 million jobs.
Obama stuck his neck out for us, the auto industry. He wasn't going to let it just die, and I'm driving in this morning because of that, because of him.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
The question Ohio families are asking is who can bring back the jobs? Under President Obama, we've lost over 500,000 manufacturing jobs, and China has passed us in manufacturing. I'll stand up to China. I have a detailed plan to create 12 million new jobs, including producing our own energy in the ground in Ohio. I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message because Ohio families can't afford 4 more years like the last 4 years.
This is the home of James Madison, the 4th President of the United States. Here in this house, he drafted the new Constitution to replace the Articles of Confederation, which he was unhappy with. Having forced that through the new Congress, he then also came up with the 10 amendments, which became the Bill of Rights. He was interesting, if you look at the Barber theory of presidency, considered one of the passive negative presidents, because although he had some good ideas, a very clever man, he actually eventually ended up justifying all the things he did when he retired from being president. He was the president that actually saw the Americans through the War of 1812 and the burning of the White House in 1814. So he's an important president to remember. But next we're going to look at the home of Thomas Jefferson, who was the writer of the Declaration of Independence. This is the home of Thomas Jefferson, Monticello, in the hills around Charlottesville in Virginia. His actually was the closest presidential race of all time, because his was a dead heat, because in the Electoral College there was no one, it was a tie. Eventually, due to twisting of arms, he became president. But now we're going to look at some of the other close presidential elections, that in 1960 and that in 2000. And then we're going to look at why 2012 is also as close. So the road to the White House involves winning not 50 states, not even half the states, but a majority in the Electoral College. So now we're going to look at the states that are really important in the election, for this year's presidential election. Looking at the map of Virginia, you can see clearly that the blue for the Democrats is focused around the towns of Arlington and Richmond, where their vote is highly concentrated. So why Virginia? There are several important battleground states in this election. Wisconsin, Florida, Virginia and Ohio are the four we're looking at particularly. There's been lots of talk this week, particularly in the United States, about Ohio being the key battleground state, and the fact that presidential candidates, their vice presidential candidates and leading members of the party, including people like Bill Clinton, have been seen numerous times in Ohio. But we're in Virginia, which is often a battleground state, and tonight we're actually meeting the vice presidential candidate, Joe Biden. He's here because this is clearly going to be a close-run contest. As America goes to the polls, Ohio is seen as being the closest of the swing states. President Obama at present has what appears to be quite a clear lead, but early voting would seem to suggest that the Republican Mitt Romney is with a genuine chance of winning the state. If he does, it's almost certain that he wins the presidency. Okay, so now we have the state of Wisconsin. You can see the comparison between 2004 and 2008, where there was a massive shift from the Republicans to the Democrats. If Barack Obama is to be returned to the White House, he needs to maintain quite a level of support in this state, and at the moment it's looking like he's under serious threat of losing this state to Mitt Romney.
I'm Tommy Thompson, and I approve this message.
Tammy Baldwin had the opportunity to vote to honor the victims of 9/11, and she voted against it.
It's a slap in the face to every one of their families and anyone who has ever served in the United States military. Tammy Baldwin's extreme far-left approach leaves this country in jeopardy.
It's a very dangerous path Tammy's leading us on.
What would you do if these were your children? How would you feel?
Will's great at math and science, and Sarah loves to read and write.
We're really hoping to send them to college someday, but I don't know if we can afford it. I think Tammy Baldwin gets it. I know she's working to lower student loan rates and expand college grants.
Tommy Thompson's plan makes no sense to us at all.
He wants to cut college aid, but give huge tax breaks to millionaires. It just doesn't seem like he's for families like us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message because Wisconsin needs a senator who will stand up for you.